So I've been asked to make this video about all the things that's been going on lately, not in the community, but in the company, and the decisions that have been made. To be more specific, there's the discontinuation of the books and comics, among other things, and they also recently announced they're making candles. So let's start talking about the books. Now, I have read them, I think I read all of them, and I gotta say, out of all the versions of the story that we have, I think the book version is actually the most consistent one. Like, just from social media, I can tell that Helena does really care about her own lore, the story and the world and the characters, and everything that she has created through her books. In fact, when I first read the books, I noticed that she was trying to combine the old and new lore together as one. For example, with Lisa being into both rock and country, and dreaming about attending Star Academy. I really respect her for that. Of course, it should be said that the game is moving away from the book canon, so the books are technically not canon anymore, but I don't really think that's Helena's fault. I think it's the company's fault, because they keep making decisions that stray away from the new book lore. Now, when it comes to the comics, I have read some of them, but I haven't really been able to keep up because I feel like they got kind of scattered all over the place, and some of them feel very random and unrelated to the game. But that being said, Ellie is a real talented artist, and I would be very interested in reading that physical comic book that they published, called Wildsong, I think, because that's like one big physical chunk of lore. So when it comes to the discontinuation and my opinion of that, I would say that considering that the stories don't really align with the game and its lore, I can kind of understand why they were stopped. If this is a question on what to prioritize, I would rather they prioritize putting these kind of stories in the actual game as quests and content, instead of having it scattered all over social media. Now, that being said, from what we've seen of screenshots and statements from Ellie and Helena, it doesn't really seem like this went down in a professional manner. And I mean, judging from the old Glassdoor reviews, this company has a history of mistreating their employees. So it wouldn't surprise me if this was the case. In fact, it kind of sounds like they both had a feud with the company, and actually from one of Helena's responses, it almost sounds like SSO is planning to continue the books but without Helena. How's that supposed to work out? Like, you can't just hire someone new to write Helena's books. That's not how it works. If this had been discussed ahead of time with Ellie and Helena, and they were given some sort of compensation, then I think that the discontinuation of these stories would be understandable and kind of accepted amongst the community. But the company kind of just tearing these projects away from them and away from the community without any warning signs or anything, if that's what happened, then that's really not okay. Especially not considering all the crap they decide to spend money on. Speaking of crap, the candles. Yeah, it's true. Star Stable Entertainment is making a horse-scented candle. A lot of people in the community are outright furious about this. Me personally, I honestly find it so hilarious that someone decided to market this. Like, listen, they're marketing it as poo and smelly armpits, and they expect you to buy it. Nobody, not even they themselves, are taking this seriously. I bet realistically someone at the office just had this random crazy idea and decided to run with it for the jokes. And now let's be entirely honest here, someone is gonna buy it. Either out of curiosity of the smell or because it's marketed as some sort of SSO collectible or merch. So it's not like they're gonna have zero sales. Like, zero. But it's not gonna sell well either. Now, do I think this is where they should be spending their money? No, absolutely not. But does it surprise me? Not really. It's kind of like watching a sinking ship. There's also the announcement that Wildsong, the mobile game, has been cancelled, and that's a project they've been working on for quite some time now. and people thought this was very close to release. In addition to that, Project Curie no longer has its project page, there's no job listings about it, so it's probably safe to assume that that's been cancelled. The Mistfall series will probably never return either, and there's also Star Stable Run from 2018, which was never released. Actually, you can still pre-register for that, even though it was never actually released. And that's just right off the top of my head. I'm sure there's a lot of other projects as well that they started but never finished. It's just amazing, the things that they decide to pour money into and then just throw it in the trash before it's even finished. Meanwhile, players are not only asking but begging them to focus on the actual game and to fix bugs, continue quests, and update the graphics that they've literally been working on for half the game's lifetime. Yeah. They started doing this in 2017, that's 6 years now. Half the game's lifetime. Look, I think they're having a real fun time at the office. They have segways, they have a life-sized Starstein statue, fancy furnitures and decorations, a literal wall of saddles. They come up with all kinds of fun projects like music, games, books, comics, candles. Having a good work environment is proven to be a very effective and important way to increase the productivity among the staff. But that's kind of where my understanding stops. Because while they seem to be having a great time at work and have all these fancy side projects going on, it doesn't really seem like it's taking them anywhere. The projects seem to more often than not get cancelled before it's finished, which is money down the drain, and the actual game updates seem to have around a 50-50 chance of being either controversial or good. Sometimes they're so controversial that there is a massive social media uproar about it. And employees are apparently still being mistreated by the higher-ups, as we see with Ellie and Helena. So what exactly are they getting from this? Do they think that these side projects and this business model is gonna expand their reach? Yeah, that's probably their vision. But if these side projects are ever gonna be successful, then they have to start mending their own reputation and fixing the relationship with their customers. And that's not gonna happen with poo candles.